What act of bravery do you need in order to overthrow the limitation within you? Hey, this is Steve, and this is the Career Competitor Coach's Corner. With his last few breaths prior to his death in 1066, King Edward the Confessor had a change of heart. It had been indicated for years that his cousin William would be the heir to his throne, but having built quite a rapport with Harold the Earl of Wessex, he appointed him as his heir in his final moments, and 24 hours after his passing, Harold was crowned king. History shows that old William didn't appreciate this change of heart. In fact, it was at this moment that William hatched a plan to take what had been promised to him. With his already strong following from Normandy, France, William and his troops crossed the Channel onto English soil to claim what he felt was his rightful place as King of England. Recently, I've been giving more thought to how I will impart British history, like this story, of how William of Normandy became William the Conqueror to my two young American children. So much so that I've dedicated time of late to re-educating myself on the long history of my homeland, because it's possible that this English father of American children wasn't paying too much attention to the tens of hundreds of stories told in his history classes growing up. While I may make some mental notes of key events in history that I will later share with my kids, the coach in me was drawn to certain themes from these much different times. You see, back in the 1000s, when you felt that something was owed to you, you took the time to convince yourself and others that this was the case. You even wanted others to be so bought into the notion that they would give their time, their effort, and in many cases their lives to help take back something you felt could and should be yours. The irony here is I'm dealing with this very issue with my 3 and 4-year-old kids when one promises to return a toy and then decides that they no longer want to do that. Maybe this says more about the maturity of these historical leaders. That's a lesson for another day. What I have always appreciated, though, about these moments in history is how these leaders would view themselves and their capabilities. So much so that they would overcome any and all reasons not to do something and choose to go after what they wanted. They were so sure of their destiny that nothing and no one could stop them. While so many of these tales involve the overthrowing of another, I must emphasize that this is not a cry for you to assemble your neighbors and plan for battle in order to take control of your favorite local coffee shop simply because you want it to yourself. But I encourage you to ask yourself, have you allowed certain beliefs to be built inside of you that need to be overthrown? What is keeping you from being truly sure of what you want? And how can you become so sure of your destiny that you tell those closest to you that it's not only what you want, but you have a plan to obtain it, and you may even need their support to see the plan through? It can be easy sometimes to fall victim to the naivety in life that we are in some way entitled to or have been promised certain things. To presume, for instance, that the degree you obtain will lead to the job you want, or that starting a business will lead to a consistent client or customer base. The fact is that very, very few things in this life are promised. And it is when the so-called guarantees don't pan out that we take the hits the hardest. What if we took a page out of the many literal examples of overthrowing power from English history and applied it in a more metaphorical way? Maybe you have an entire story of behaving as William of Normandy did, and your life's work is that of taking what you believe is rightfully yours and building an empire because of it. Or maybe you fall into the other 99% of us who sometimes build a fortress of limiting beliefs inside of us because the expectations we once had did not come to fruition as we had hoped. If this is you, hear my rally cry. Rally the troops within yourself and implement the one characteristic that all figures of history have embodied: bravery. I understand this word sometimes gets misused in accordance with certain acts that really don't honor the word in its truest sense, especially when it comes to the comparisons with war. But it's sometimes essential that we use a word like bravery in order to acknowledge the magnitude of the challenge that is in front of us. You might not be trying to take back the crown that was once promised to you, but maybe you are willing to take back the life you felt was once promised to you. You might not be gathering hundreds of thousands of people to go into battle, but you might need help from those closest to you in battling limiting beliefs that have plagued your mindset for years. If your past indicates you are owed something, if it suggests you were close but didn't quite achieve success, or if it captures a belief that it's not worth trying again, just know that all that means is you are human and you have lived. In so many cases, trying again or asking for help can be the bravest thing a person can do. Or to be brave enough to pursue what you believe was the reason you were put on this planet in the first place, knowing you could fall at any moment. Today, just take a moment and envision what it might look like to represent yourself in a way that shows pride in what you are truly capable of achieving. Maybe map out a couple of initial steps and even consider a person worthy of sharing this initial plan with. While I look forward to one day telling the tale of William the Conqueror with my kids, I will be sure to not leave out the moral of the story I took from it. Whether something is promised or something is taken away, with the right ambition, plan, and support, anything can be earned. Thank you so much for tuning in to this short and sweet episode of Career Competitor. I love my Coach's Corners. There's something that I take a lot of pride in and really appreciate the feedback that I get. And that's my immediate rally cry to you to do exactly that. Give me some feedback. I would love to hear what you thought of these insights, maybe how it speaks to you and maybe how you see yourself within it. I'm sure you do, and I'd love to hear about how you do. In the meantime, guys, keep up the incredible work with anything and everything that you've got going on within your world, and I look forward to doing this all again with you very soon. Bye for now.